Alabama football's first fall scrimmage is in the books, and we've got all the juicy nuggets you need. Stick around. Let's talk about it. How do they look? This is way off sides. 3, 2, let's go. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever the case may be. Welcome to your favorite Tide Talk show on YouTube, Way Offside. It's your boy Cotton here. Do me a favor before we even get started. Go down to the comment section, leave a big roll Tide, and tell me who you're most excited to see in 2025 on the field for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Alabama has been bearing the hot summer sun, late summer sun, those dog days of summer down there in Tuscaloosa, and it has led to their first scrimmage of the 2025 season, and there's tons of juicy nuggets of information coming out this Saturday morning. Happy Saturday. We're only 3 weekends away from college football, by the way, but we're going to share a lot of what we're hearing with you and talk about it, including some insightful words from head coach Kalen DeBoer. But before we get there, while you're down there leaving that comment for me, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, do all the things, leave a big heart there on this video, helps the algorithm, which helps us, and then we can help you even more. Tell your friends about Way Offsides, and if you've been around for a long time, you know it's very important that we emphasize how to spell way right. Skip, tell them.
Way, this is all caps, W-A-A-A-A-Y, way.
Thank you, Skip. We appreciate that little pop-in cameo there. Let's talk about fall camp. Fall camp has looked really good for Alabama from what we could see. Media this fall and last fall has a little more access than they typically did under Nick Saban to the football team, which is good for you as the fan. You're getting a lot more information. You're getting better insight into what to expect from this team. And Alabama's in a weird year. They're in a weird year to where you can look at it two ways. The first way being that last year was basically a wash, given some issues with the locker room that people have talked about, Kalen DeBoer coming in to what seems like an impossible job, how much they lost on the roster, what they brought in. In that short turnaround after Nick Saban retired, so last year could just potentially be a wash, or this could be the year where Kalen DeBoer has to have some success, make the playoff, or Alabama's in trouble in terms of recruiting and on the field moving forward as the playing field levels across the college football landscape, thanks to NIL and the transfer portal. But all that aside, things are looking very positive for Alabama moving into 2025. And with Kalen DeBoer's historical track record in his second year, the expectations still for the Tide are through the roof. And so a lot of people are excited to talk about what went on this morning there in Tuscaloosa on that field. And it all starts where? With the quarterbacks. Of course it starts with the quarterbacks. We all know about Alabama's wide receivers. Chris did a short the other day talking about Rico Scott, somebody that not a lot of people are talking about in Alabama's wide receiver room, but a guy who is lightning quick, very Jalen Waddle-esque in terms of speed. To me, looks more like a John Mechie. But either way, but who's going to distribute the ball to these folks? Because a lot of folks feel like the quarterback play over the last 2 seasons has been too inconsistent. And so you've got 3 options. And the way it looks is all 3 had a great day. What I'm hearing coming out of camp is that there were no interceptions thrown by any of the quarterbacks. And obviously, Ty Simpson, who everybody is very anxious to see, he's got seniorities, he's the leader. This coaching staff seems to trust him. Had a pretty good showing. Had a big play to Isaiah Horton, I heard, at some point in time during this whole thing. And things just went really, really smooth with the offense. And it didn't really matter who was playing quarterback. which is should comfort Alabama fans big time, because what that tells me is that if Ty's not the guy, which we all think he's going to be, then Austin Mack, Keelan Russell could step in, and there's not going to be much of a drop off. Or God forbid, there's an injury somewhere along the line. These other two quarterbacks are ready to jump in and make things happen. And the relationship with the wide receiving core is good. At least it seems that way. Keelan Russell, he flashed during scrimmage. Austin Mack had a pretty solid showing. Ty Simpson got a chance to show that he can improvise a little bit. It looks like things went very, very well there on the offensive side of the ball. Also sounds like the running backs had a good morning from what I'm hearing. There were just nothing real negative to come out of the offensive viewing or what people have seen from the offense or what we're hearing. Some of this is through the grapevine. So that's exciting because we all know that the potential and the expectation for the offense is practically through the roof. Everybody expects Alabama to have a top 5 offense this season. Combine that with what we know they should be like on defense, and you're looking at a very scary team who could be very, very hard to beat. They've got the talent. The question is are they too young in some places, linebacking position, things like that? Well, it seems like early on, defensively, they did very, very well. There was a pretty strong showing there too. Everybody looked fast, aggressive, that swarm. They've all kind of adopted that swarm defense, that swarm D mentality, which I think we started to see that towards the end of this last season. It felt like, I'm not saying they were as good as the 2026 defense, or excuse me, the 2016 defense, but anytime there was a tackle going on, there were 5, 6 crimson jerseys getting in on that or crashing down on it. You know what I mean? And so we all know the secondary is supposed to be elite. They're going to be fast. They're going to be aggressive. They're long. They're rangy. But it looks like the linebacking group appears to be good too, which should scare some folks, because if Alabama can stop the run and force you to beat them through the air, you might be in trouble. So my understanding is the pass rush took a little bit to kind of get going. The offense, which is that, read into that how you want. It could mean that the pass rush is not as good as we're hoping, or it could mean that the offensive line is as advertised. We all expect this defense to be great. And so the biggest question mark to me going into scrimmage was the linebacking position and then the offensive line. But it sounds like both looked really, really good. And keep in mind, this is a fall scrimmage. So this is college football's equivalent to the NFL preseason, basically. So, this isn't a live opponent on the other side of the field, but it's football, So I've heard that we all know what to expect from Jam Miller. I think the guy to watch at the running back position for Alabama's offense is going to be Richard Young. I think Richard Young is a big, physical, nasty runner. Kevin Riley back there too, I think will be good. Daniel Hill. We all know that stable of running backs is absolutely stacked and ridiculous for Alabama. It's almost unfair. And in today's age of football, it's very interesting that they were able to keep everything they've kept, to be honest with you. Excuse me. Sorry. So to see the offense kind of match the playing level of the defense and what the expectation is for the defense, it feels really good. Now, the most important thing to come out of today, it doesn't look like there were any serious injuries. This is a weird time where you want to get in practices. You need practices to start being more physical, but you also don't want to risk the potential of serious injury and limiting playing time through the season. Alabama's nursing a couple of guys back to 100% health, some very key players. Deontay Lawson's a great example. And so you don't want to push it too much. You don't want to push the envelope too much, but you also want to create a very realistic and aggressive and competitive environment for play. So tell me in the comments below what you're hearing out of fall camp, what you're reading. There's some really good folks out there. Charlie Potter, Clint Lamb putting out amazing content. I want to hear what your thoughts are, what your expectations are. Who are the players that you think people aren't talking about enough throughout the fall, even the summer, that you're looking forward and you think are going to have an immediate impact? I think James Smith is going to be one of those guys. I think people are starting to kind of remember him and talk about him more, but I think James Smith, he is poised to have a crazy good year. I know Clint's talked about him a little bit. We've talked about him a little bit. I've noticed that some other folks are starting to talk about him. And so I want to hear what you think in the sense of who is going to be a standout player defensively and offensively for Alabama. Now, the news of the day coming off of practice and into a press conference, Kalen DeBoer seemed very pleased with what's going on right now with the team. Now, I will say Kalen DeBoer, if you've watched some of this practice footage, he seems a lot more comfortable and confident, which should put some people on notice. We've talked about how he's historically had success in year two wherever he's been. This is year two at Alabama. And he seemed more confident talking to the media too, I noticed. But he talked about the quarterback position. Everybody wants to talk about quarterbacks. Who's going to be the starting quarterback at Alabama? Well, I think we already know. Personally, that's just my opinion. I think it's going to be Ty Simpson. I think it's pretty obvious that it's going to be Ty Simpson, but people need a storyline. And so, somebody asked him specifically about the quarterbacks, and he said that they're getting close to naming a starter and that he hopes to do it after next week's scrimmage. So there you have it. Probably by this time next week, Alabama will have a starter named officially at quarterback. You see me adjusting my hat here. Let me go ahead and show you guys. I did a thing. Oh yeah. Yeah. You like it? You like it? Spend my dollar, baby. Thanks to University Traditions for hooking cotton up. If you want one, you can go over to universitytraditions.biz, and they'll hook you up. I think they're almost out of this hat, to be honest. So if you're going to do it, be quick. Thank you all for hanging out with your boy Cotton. I'm really excited about what's coming. I think we'll get more information, have a better look at what's going down with this team after the next scrimmage. I'm trying to temper my expectations for Alabama football in 2025 and be as realistic as possible, but it is really hard not to be excited about this squad. There is the potential for Alabama to have a top 5 offense and a top 5 defense. And if that happens, it's going to be hard to keep them out of the national title game. Really hard. Their schedule's not ideal, but boy, it's good. It's good stuff. So thanks for sticking around with me. As always, you guys know the drill. Say your prayers, read your Bibles, wash your hands, horns down, beat Auburn and LSU and Tennessee too. Roll Tide.